side. David Octavius, WRC Legend Backyard. One-time knockout divas, always draft losing champion, hero. And it's all about Twitter in this broadcast, David. And everybody's talking about, or at least everybody was talking about earlier this week, the buzz was about Paul Heyman's big announcement on Raw, his new client, Curtis Axel. The buzz picked up even more on Twitter when Triple H's music hit during that introduction. Let's go to what some of you were saying this week on Twitter, reference this situation. Firstly, at RiseGidZeb says, Axel's been out for 5 minutes and Triple H has already got his shovel out. At Cajun Man Punk says, when there is young talent to bury, it's time to play the game at Triple H, hashtag Raw. At JRebow6772 says, R.I.P. Kurt Axel. It's burial time. Too bad. A lot of feedback on this subject, but David, the subject of this episode of Hot Tag is, did Triple H bury Curtis Axel this past Monday night? And were those tweets that people sent out, and that was a theme of most that were coming out initially, were they fair at all?
You know what? I don't think it's fair. I mean, there's all different kinds of burials in the world of professional wrestling. There's a burial of trying to limit a guy to get over, to expose somebody and whatnot. It's maybe like a 50% burial is what I think it is. Because what really happened is, by Triple H coming out and interrupting Curtis Axel's debut or re-debut, it brought attention on young Kurt Axel, okay? And then for him to go in and have a match with him, and it was an okay match at best. I mean, basically, what was done is now Kurt Axel, Joe Henning, whoever you want to call him, Perfect Jr., is now the guy that...
Almost perfect?
Almost perfect. By the way, Be the Booker was perfect. But it's just a way of taking Triple H off TV, and this young kid is the reason, not the reason why he's off TV. Mm-hmm. So it gives him a little bit of steam. Now he has bragging rights going forward for the next few months. Let's face it, Triple H left Extreme Rules. He walked out. Now he was helped out. Now there's like, oh, his head's not right. Concussion. What could it be? They had to find a way to write Triple H off TV. And what better way to do it than to have the new youngster come in and be a part of that?
But will anyone remember down the road that it was that new youngster, Curtis Axel, that was the other guy in the ring when Triple H had his
Absolutely, because moment. Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel will not let the fans forget. And when Triple H comes back, he's going to say, Kurt Axel is the guy.
You got to expect that come tonight on SmackDown, Paul Heyman will indeed spin it that way, that it was Curtis Axel who took out Triple H. And upcoming weeks on Raw, it was Curtis Axel that took out Triple H. And once that continues, it will likely be believed by the masses, and then it becomes reality.
The only true burial of Curtis Axel is his name, Curtis Axel.
You don't like it?
I think it's...
Larry the Axe Hennig? Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig?
Hey, listen. Yes. Larry the Axe Hennig. Amazing.
Not to be confused with the Iron
talent.
Man. Or the, never mind.
And Mr. Perfect, I mean, listen, this kid has humongous shoes to fill, okay? His father was one of the best of all time. His grandfather was a legend in the AWA. But just call him Joe Hennig. Just let him be Joe Hennig. Curtis Axel?
I guess if you ever have to explain it, you shouldn't have done it. And when they had to explain this past Monday night what his name meant.
But at the same time, they did the same thing with The Rock. It was Rocky Maivia for Rocky Johnson and High Chief Peter Maivia. I get it, but Rocky Maivia sounds far better than Curtis Axel.
Cody Rhodes, a second-generation wrestler, is...
yeah, he is.
Got his dad's last name.
But he's not a third generation.
Right, but he's a second-generation wrestler, like I said. Randy Orton's a third generation. His name, Randy Orton.
But it's like... do they not want to have the association of Kurt Hennig because of how he passed with the drug?
Oh, no, they flat out said it this past Monday night.
But what I'm saying, let him be Joe Hennig. I think he becomes a bigger star as Joe Hennig than as Curtis Axel.
So for you, the problem is in the name?
Absolutely.
And Triple H half buried him.
Listen, the name can make or break you at times. The ringmaster Steve Austin.
That doesn't do his name.
But he was the ringmaster.
He wasn't Stone Cold yet when he became Austin 316.
But when you hear ringmaster, I thought of a guy in a circus. You know, there's been some terrible names out there, and Curtis Axel is right up there in the top 10.
Really?
Absolutely.
So I guess maybe the subject of this should have been, is David Hero going to bury Curtis Axel?
Curtis Axel, yes. Joe Hennig, not at all. I like Joe Hennig.
We're going to talk a lot more on Primetime about the fact that he was the person revealed to be Paul Heyman's new client, and thank God it wasn't RVD like all of you were salivating over on Twitter this past Monday as well.
It couldn't be RVD. Do you know why?
Why is that, David?
Because you can only have one guy with airbrush tights.
Oh, I want to see your tweet talked about on #HotTag. All you have to do is follow PWR on Twitter. Be sure to include us by mention during each broadcast of WWE and TNA programming. That's it for this Friday Delight. We'll be back with you again tomorrow with Primetime, where we will have all the discussion and information and results from WWE, Extreme Rules, Raw, SmackDown, TNA, and more. Hot news of Vince Center, Diamond of the Ring, and the weekend.
We got a lot of stuff, don't we, to cover.
So for that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow on Primetime.